Let's be honest, we've all been there. You're staring at your family tree, full of names, dates, and places, trying to feel connected to those ancestors who, let's face it, feel about as real as characters in a history textbook. Sure, you know great great Grandpa John was a farmer in Minnesota, but what does that actually tell you about his life? To truly connect with your ancestors, you need to understand the historical context that shaped their world, the why behind their decisions, and the how of their everyday lives. What if I told you that behind every name on your family tree lies an epic story of survival, courage, and determination? These aren't just names on a page. They're people who lived through incredible challenges, adapted to changing times, and helped create the world we live in today. Hi, I'm Tanya from Beyond Generations Genealogy. Today, I'm going to show you how to uncover these stories and bring your family history to life using historical context. Let's dive in. So, historical context is actually just fancy talk for what was actually going on back then. It's about understanding the world your ancestors lived in, the good, the bad, and sometimes the downright bizarre. Ask yourself, what major events were happening during their lifetime? What was life like in their town or country? How might their occupation, ethnicity, or religion have influenced their experiences? What social and cultural norms shaped their daily lives? How did the political climate and policies affect their choices? What technological advancements were transforming society? Have you ever looked at an old document and wondered about the stories it holds? Historical context is the key to unlocking those hidden stories and truly bringing your ancestors to life. Historical context turns names into real people. Take a ship's manifest, for example. It's not just a list of names. It's a window into a family's desperate escape from famine or war, a journey of hope and survival. Now suddenly that name isn't just a record. It's a person with dreams, fears, and a story that shaped your family's path. Historical context can even solve long-standing family mysteries. Why did your ancestors suddenly move to a new state? Why is there a gap in the census records? Events like economic downturns or natural disasters might hold the answers. When you know the broader story, you'll uncover new clues and research paths you never even considered. Historical context breathes life into your family tree. That farmer in Minnesota wasn't just someone working the land. He was battling harsh winters, surviving fluctuating crop prices, and raising a family against all odds. Knowing this turns a faceless name into someone you can almost see and feel. A person whose resilience echoes through your own family's values. Historical context can strengthen your family connections. Most importantly, understanding the world your ancestors lived in can help you connect their stories to your own life. Maybe their survival during the Great Depression explains your family's knack for stretching a dollar, or why certain traditions are cherished. Suddenly, your family history isn't just about the past. It's a mirror reflecting who you are today. Let's talk about adding historical context to your family research. And don't worry, you don't need a history degree for this. Here's my tried and true strategy to bring your ancestors' story to life. First up, research major events. What was happening in the world during your ancestors' lifetime? History textbooks, online timelines, or sites like history.com are great starting points. Focus on events that might have influenced their decisions, like wars, migrations, or pandemics. For example, if your ancestors emigrated from Germany in the 1840s, look into the German revolutions of 1848. Political unrest could have been the key reason they packed their bags for a fresh start. Next, dive into county history books. These gems are packed with details about local events, industries, and community changes. You might learn about the arrival of a railroad that turned your ancestors' farming village into a bustling town, and maybe even explain why they switched from farming to working for the railroad. Explore historical newspapers. These are like time machines into daily life, offering more than just big headlines. Ads, social columns, and announcements can reveal a lot. For example, a simple notice about a church social might hint at your ancestors' social circles or their role in the community. Understanding migration patterns is another goldmine. Why did people in your ancestors' era move? Maybe they were chasing economic opportunities or part of a religious movement. These patterns can tell you a lot about their motivations. Let's not forget social movements. Your ancestors might have been part of big causes like women's suffrage or labor rights. Digging into these movements can reveal their values and impact on their community. Now, social history is all about the details: clothes, food, and daily routines. Knowing what life was like for people in your ancestors' time makes their story so much richer. Don't overlook the context of records. Documents like census records or military drafts weren't created in a vacuum. They were responses to historical events. For example, World War I draft registration cards can tell you about more than just military service. You'll also find clues about occupation, citizenship, and even physical characteristics. Borders and town changes can explain a lot, like why your ancestors suddenly moved when the border shifted. And older relatives often have stories or traditions that reflect the historical context of your family's past. To really demonstrate the power of historical context, let's look at how it transforms a real ancestor's story. I'll share it two ways. First, just the facts version, and then with rich historical context that brings her story to life. So just the facts. Catherine Ambrose was born June of 1824 in Ireland. She married John Callanan in 1846. They immigrated to America, with John arriving in 1851 and Catherine following in 1852. The couple first lived in Haverstraw, Rockland County, New York, where John worked as a laborer in a brickyard. They later settled in Bridgewater Township, Rice County, Minnesota, where they farmed. Catherine had 10 children, though only 5 survived to adulthood. She died in April of 1906 and is buried in the Calvary Cemetery in Northfield, Minnesota. Now here's all those same facts with historical context added to the story. Catherine Ambrose came of age during one of Ireland's most challenging periods. Born in 1824, she grew up during increasing tensions between tenant farmers and landlords in Ireland, facing religious and social restrictions as a Catholic. Catherine married John Callanan in 1846, just as the Great Famine was devastating Ireland. Following common immigration patterns, John departed first in 1851, with Catherine following in 1852. They settled in Haverstraw, New York, which was then the brick-making capital of the world, where John found steady work in the grueling brick-making industry. Their move to Rice County, Minnesota, likely motivated by the Homestead Act, brought them to a growing Irish Catholic community. Catherine's life reflects the resilience of immigrant women of her era. While managing a household and a farm, she had 10 children during a time of limited medical care, losing 5, a tragic but common occurrence in the 19th century. I won't read the whole thing, but you get the point. Version 2 is so much more interesting. Let's dive deeper into Catherine's story and see how historical context turns facts into a vivid narrative. The Great Famine devastated Ireland from 1845 to 1852, causing over 1 million deaths and prompting another million to emigrate. Many Irish families, including Catherine's, followed established migration chains, often with husbands immigrating first to establish work and housing. So John's arrival in 1851 and Catherine's in 1852 perfectly matched this pattern. And then they settled in Haverstraw, New York, which was home to a thriving Irish community. In the 1850s, Haverstraw was the brick-making capital of the world, offering steady jobs to Irish immigrants like John. Later, the 1862 Homestead Act drew them to Minnesota, where affordable farmland promised a better future. The Callanans' journey from laborers to land-owning farmers reflects the upward mobility that many immigrants achieved through hard work. Catherine and John had 10 children, but only 5 survived to adulthood. A heartbreaking but common reality in the 19th century. Limited medical care and harsh living conditions on the frontier often resulted in high child mortality rates. These losses highlight the resilience required to build a life during that era. Faith and community were central to the Callinans' lives. Settling in Rice County, Minnesota, they joined a strong Irish Catholic community. Churches served as social and spiritual hubs, offering essential support for immigrant families. Catherine's burial in Calvary Cemetery reflects the enduring importance of these connections. By understanding the historical context of Catherine's life, we see more than a name in a family tree. Her story becomes a powerful narrative of survival, adaptation, and perseverance, a testament to the immigrant experience. Understanding historical context isn't just about making your ancestors' stories more interesting. It can actually help you break through those frustrating research roadblocks. Here's what I mean. So it's like unlocking a treasure map to the right records. When you know what was happening in your ancestors' world, you gain a clear path to the records you need. So imagine this. Your ancestor was an Irish Catholic immigrant. Boom. Start digging into parish records and immigrant aid societies. Were they farming in Minnesota? The Homestead Act applications or county plat maps could hold hidden gems. Maybe they worked in the Haverstraw brickyards. Local industrial records might reveal details you didn't even know to look for. Historical context can really make those old records make sense. Let's be real, those old documents sometimes feel like they're written in ancient code. But when you understand what was happening at the time, those puzzle pieces snap into place. Was there a gap in census records or a sudden career change? Maybe there was an economic downturn or a new railroad came through. Knowing the context transforms confusion into clarity. Historical context can open doors you didn't even know existed. The big picture of your ancestors' world can reveal entirely new research opportunities. Was your family part of the Great Famine migration? Ship manifests and immigration records could be waiting for you. Did your great-grandma march for women's suffrage? You might find her name on a petition. If they lived in a tight-knit community, local newspapers and county histories might hold incredible details about their lives. Historical context can help you smash through those brick walls. We've all hit those moments of frustration staring at a research dead end. Historical context can be the key to breaking through. That missing ancestor might have relocated due to a drought, or a gap in records could be explained by a war or a pandemic. Understanding their world gives you new paths to explore and helps you see the bigger picture. Every piece of historical context you uncover is like completing another section of the puzzle. Suddenly, the dates and names transform into real people with real stories. And isn't that why we do genealogy in the first place? Adding historical context to your family history isn't just about making it more captivating, although it totally does. It's about seeing your ancestors as real people. People who faced challenges, made decisions, and lived full lives just like we do today. Think about it. They survived economic depressions without stimulus checks. They crossed oceans without GPS. They built communities without social media. They raised families without modern medicine or conveniences. And they created the foundation for the life you live today. So the next time you uncover a new ancestor or document, ask yourself, what major events were shaping their world? What challenges were they up against? What opportunities were they chasing? And how did their community influence their decisions? You might be surprised how much more meaningful your family history becomes when you understand the world that your ancestors lived in. Their stories are part of a larger tapestry of history, and by exploring their context, you're not just learning about your family, you're uncovering insights into the human experience itself. Because at the end of the day, family history isn't just about the past. It's about connecting with the people who came before us and appreciating the resilience and the strength that lives on in us today. Now it's your turn. Take one ancestor from your family tree and take 15 minutes to research what was happening in their world. Drop a comment below telling me what you discovered. I bet you'll find something fascinating. Do you want help uncovering your ancestor stories? Beyond Generations Genealogy specializes in research that goes beyond just names and dates. We create beautiful, context-rich family history books that bring your ancestor story to life. Our services include professional genealogy research, context-rich family history books, and photo scanning and restoration. Visit our website or click the link in the show notes to start preserving your family's legacy today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into uncovering your family's incredible history. Until next time, happy researching.